Thank you all for being here today. I have just been overwhelmed by the folks who showed up today. It's been wonderful. They've been asking me about how I feel today, and such a myriad of emotions, I can't even start to list how I feel. I said on this journey that we've been on for almost 12 years now, certainly this is a milestone and a big one. I never thought that, well, first of all, I never thought that Casey would die from an overdose. I never thought that he would die before we did. And then I had no idea that after he died that I would be able to keep going because I really didn't want to. It was the first time in my life I'd ever really thought about suicide. But I guess, you know, it was just in the plan for my life and actually for Casey's life too. A bigger plan than what we could ever dream or imagine. Because I know that for a fact there have been people here today that are alive in part, I hope, because of Casey's Law. And there's so many more out there that I'll probably never even know about. But, you know, to have Casey's Law for the state of Kentucky, it will be 10 years old tomorrow. It will be the 10th anniversary. And in that 10 years, I just can't imagine how many lives that it's been able to touch. It's given hope to families that were hopeless just like we were. And the best that we got for Casey was that he had to want to, loosen up, and hit bottom. That was the one piece of advice. That was the only piece of advice. My doctor wished me good luck. After Casey died, my doctor said, and I went to tell my doctor that he had died, the doctor said, "You're kidding." I said, "No, I'm not kidding." And so, you know, that set me on a journey that really had me saying and doing things that flew in the face of what people had been believing for decades. Believing that people really did have to hit bottom, that they really did have to crash and burn before they could get better. I learned differently, and I started calling those myths, and they are. We've parked the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff far too long. It was time to park the ambulance at the top of the cliff. And that was one of the things that we tried to do with Casey's Law. We couldn't intervene on him because of his age. And so Casey's Law is with, regardless of age. It doesn't matter if the person is 18 or 58. And without any criminal charges, because I talked to people, in fact, I talked to some ladies today that said, you know, they know all kinds of people who have a felony conviction on their record, and that is inhibiting them from getting the kinds of job that they would like to get or the housing they would like to have. It just sets up another barrier to recovery. And you know, along the way, I've got connected with some folks who felt the same way that I did, and we were speaking the same language. In fact, Noel and Carol and Holly and I were just talking with Carol Baden today about how wonderful it is to get with people who speak the same language. Because I didn't fit with the same people that I had been associating with before. I really had nothing in common with them anymore, and I was looking for a home. I was looking for somewhere where I belonged. And I'm sure that people in recovery can relate to that. That you're finding a new place, you're finding new friends, you're finding new associations. And I found people in the state that wanted to break down the barriers to recovery, and that group has come to be known as PAR, People Advocating Recovery. And we have a chapter here in Northern Kentucky PAR that meets the second Monday of every month at Transitions Grateful Life Center just down the road from here. I hope if you're not connected with us yet that you will get connected with us. One of the main things that we have been trying to do is stop the dying. And if you saw the bus, if you read the signs on the bus today, and I know most of you, if not all of you, have, one of the things that we want to do is get Naloxone in the hands of everyone who is at risk of an overdose. Because, you know, here's the bottom line. This is truly the bottom line. People have to be alive to recover. So if we can't keep them alive, they're not going to recover. And then the other sign on our bus, of course, is Casey's Law, because we do want to raise awareness. You know, you would think that after 10 years that everybody in the state of Kentucky would know about Casey's Law. You would be wrong. I still get telephone calls from people that say, I'm trying to file a Casey's Law petition and they don't know anything about it. That's very troubling for me because, you know, we've worked so hard in trying to get the information out. We've traveled all over the state of Kentucky and out of the state of Kentucky, been on the news, on the radio, in the newspaper, but yet there's still people that do not know that there is an option for them. So I just appreciate so much having this opportunity today, for you all being a part of it. Like I said, it certainly is a milestone in the journey, and I'm looking forward to many more, because I've made such, like I was telling Carol and Noel and Holly and the other Carol that I've just met, it is just so good to make those connections, and how I feel like if there's been a blessing that's come from Casey's death, it certainly has put people in my life that would have never been there before. And I'm so grateful, because it sure was a lonely journey out there before you guys showed up. So thank you for showing up, not just today, but that I know that you will continue to show up. And I'm so very grateful for that. And I hope that whatever you do when you leave this place today, that you will take every opportunity to talk about the disease of addiction and make those opportunities often to help us to change the paradigm, to change the way that addiction has been treated from a criminal justice issue to the public health issue that it is. We have no system of care, none, zero, no system of care for the disease of addiction. We have one for every other disease that's out there, but none for addiction. People who have this disease need it just as much and are just as worthy as anyone else who has a chronic, progressive, potentially fatal disease. So I hope that today that you will, if you haven't already become an advocate, that you will, because I do believe that that's where it's at. Advocacy is where it's at. It's not going to be the agencies that change how addiction is treated. It's not going to be the organizations. It's going to be the people who addiction has touched. And it's touched all of us, obviously. A lot of us that are here today have been touched by it. And we know that there are thousands of more that are out there that are not with us today. I could talk on forever. I told Ron it's kind of dangerous to give me a microphone because he knows I can talk. But I don't want to hold you all here. And I know that I just appreciate you being here in the heat and everything, and all the people that have supported this event. It's tremendous, and I can't thank you enough for everything. And just, you know, pass the word on.